mystic yoga system, as you have explained, aims at the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is meant for completely ending material existence. Please let me know the nature of that yoga system. How many ways are there by which one can understand in truth that sublime yoga? So this is a question by Mother Devahuti, and the pretext to this is that Lord has explained preliminary process of Bhakti Yoga, and she has understood that this is the only process to attain Nirvana. Nirvana means freedom from material existence and entering into spiritual kingdom. Because without entering into spiritual kingdom, one can never be free from material existence. If somebody goes to Brahma Jyoti, also he will fall down. So that is not real freedom from material existence. It's a temporary relief from material existence, but not permanent relief, permanent solution. So now in this verse, purport of this verse, Prabhupada explains there are different kinds of mystic yoga systems aiming for different phases of the absolute truth. Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So, the Jnana Yogis, first there is a discussion on Jnana Yogis. So, Jnana Yogis, they practice cultivation of knowledge, and through that cultivation of knowledge, they try to realize Brahman. Dhyana Yogis or Hatha Yogis, they meditate on the Super Soul, and with that process, they try to understand Paramatma. And Bhakti Yogis, they directly engage in transcendental loving service of the Lord. Of the three processes, chief primary processes, Bhakti Yoga is the highest. So first, Prabhupada talks about the Jnana Yoga system. In Bhagavad Gita, the process of Jnana Yoga is mentioned by Lord, and it is explained as very difficult. Klesho adhiktaras tesham avyakta asakta chetasam. So avyakta means impersonal, unmanifest Brahman. In 8th chapter, the process of entering into Brahman, and in 12th chapter also it's mentioned. In 8th chapter, it is mentioned to realize Brahman, first step is one has to take sannyas. Without taking sannyas, without leaving home and hearth, nobody can practice Jnana Yoga, nobody can practice Dhyana Yoga. Only Bhakti Yoga is the one yoga system that allows one to stay wherever he has sthana sthita and practice Bhakti Yoga. Other yoga systems essentially require one has to leave all the material arrangement and go to forest or secluded place. A pious place. Shito Desha means pious place. So, first step is one has to take sannyasa. To take sannyasa, in 8th chapter, one has to study Vedas very carefully. One has to very carefully study Vedas. One has to acquire knowledge because a sannyasi cannot be without knowledge. Vedic study itself is very tedious. So, first, to learn the grammar of the Vedas, it requires 12 years of training in Gurukul. It's not a part-time study. One has to dedicate himself to the study. After that, he has to start the study of Vedas. Then it takes a long time. Then he prepares for sannyasa. Then he has to leave everything and go. He has to utter Omkar, and he has to meditate on the impersonal Brahman. Now, meditating on impersonal Brahman, why Lord says it is so difficult? First, the preliminary process before meditating on the impersonal Brahman, the preliminary process itself is so difficult. After that, very interestingly, in 12th chapter, there is a catch. In 3rd and in 5th verse, Lord says, this is a very difficult process. Klesho adhiktaras. Adhik means too much. Why he says it is Klesho adhikatara? Because in 3rd and 4th he explains the nature of Brahman and the process of realizing Brahman. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses. Those who worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses. When we worship the Supreme Lord in Archa form, He is within the perception of our senses. It is very easy for us, those who are conditioned living entities, it is very easy for them to perceive the form of the Lord, meditate on the form of the Lord, offer worship and service to the form of the Lord. But here it is written, but those who fully worship the unmanifested, they have to fully worship. This unmanifested is beyond the perception of the senses. So they have to imagine. There are 5 senses plus 1 is mind. Neither Brahman can be conceived through these 5 senses, nor Brahman can be conceived through mind. So they have to imagine what is Brahman. That's why their process is neti neti. I reject this, I reject this, I reject. Then what remains? That you have to imagine. That whatever remains after that is Brahman, now you worship it. How to worship? They don't have an answer. Now this process says, how do you worship impersonal Brahman? How do you offer prayer? How do you offer food? How do you do whatever worship is required? Right? How do you meditate also? But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of the senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and being equally disposed to everyone. By controlling senses and being equally disposed to everyone. Such persons engage in the welfare of all, at last achieve me. So finally they come down to the process of serving welfare of all living entities. Right? Because they don't have a conception of the supreme absolute truth, it's beyond the perception of the senses, they have to come down to the level of serving living entities by claiming them as Brahman, Narayan, Darit Narayan, this Narayan, that Narayan, and this other. So finally, they have to settle down to a personal form for worship or service, which is, of course, again on a material platform, philanthropic activities purposes. Now, that's why Lord says, for those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. So, Lord says it is very difficult process. Preparation of the process is difficult. Execution of the process is difficult. And in the end, they reach Brahman. From there, they again fall down. Yes. Te Arvindaksha, ye Arvindaksha Vimuktamanina, Toy Asadbhava Avishuddha Buddhya, Aruha Krichena. Take Aruh means they are raising themselves. Patanti, again they fall down from there. So after all such tedious process, all such difficult activity, they again fall down. So their conception of liberation or nirvana is farce, is false. Because they have to fall down eventually, today or tomorrow. After coming down, they again engage in philanthropic activities. And it takes many thousands of births for them to realize Vasudevaha Sarvamiti. Supreme Lord Krishna is everything and surrender unto Him. Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. So that is how here it is said that this process is also rejected. It's not complete liberation. Then there is discussion by Prabhupada on Dhyana Yoga. Now, very interestingly in Bhagavad Gita, comparison of Dhyana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga is given in 6th chapter and 14th chapter. Dhyana Yoga process, if somebody wants to, Dhyana Yoga means meditating on the Supreme Lord. Again, it is very clearly said in 6th chapter, one has to leave home. Right? One has to go to forest. Now, the way Dhyana Yoga process is explained in Bhagavad Gita is to leave home. Arjuna says in 2nd chapter, I will leave home. Right? I'll beg. Beg means I'll take sannyas. In 2nd chapter he says that instead of killing my worshipable elders, puja arhav, they are worshipable, instead of killing them, it's better to beg and live. So Lord explains, even to go to forest, to beg and live, one has to prepare himself to go to forest. With this nature, with the Kshatriya nature of Arjuna, if he goes to forest and lives, or if he takes sannyasa, he will not be able to stick on to the sannyasa principles. Why? Because three modes will push him. Right? So Lord says that the influence of three modes is so difficult to overcome, so hard to overcome, that a person situated in knowledge is also unable to overcome them. Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows his nature. What can repression accomplish? So you are in Kshatriya nature, you are in Kshatriya profile, right? So Kshatriya nature in general, of course Arjuna is a Raj Rishi, but representing Kshatriya. Kshatriya nature is Rajogun. Brahmana is in Satogun, Kshatriya is in Rajogun, Vaishya is Rajo and Tamogun, and Shudra is in Tamogun. So Arjuna is Kshatriya nature. After he takes sannyasa with this nature, he will not be able to stay. Why? Because to take sannyasa or to go to forest for meditation, one has to be free from all material attachments. So now Lord explains in 6th chapter, what is the process of becoming free from all the material contamination before going to the forest. Again he explains, Arjuna says it's a very difficult process. Jnana Yoga is very difficult. Dhyana Yoga is also very difficult. A person is said to have attained yoga when having renounced all material desires. Somebody is having even a tinge of material desire. If he goes to forest, then here example of Vishwamitra Muni is given in the purport. Right? One has to be completely free from all material desires. He neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. So he has to give up all fruitive activities, and his no action should be directed towards sense gratification. Yoginaha karma kurvanti sangam tektva atma shuddhi. A yogi has to work giving up all material attachment only for atma shuddhi. Right? This first. Then one has to be freed from hot dualities of hot and cold, honor, dishonor, and happiness, distress. Then further Lord says one has to be freed from even material discrimination of he sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same, and he is fully satisfied by the virtue acquired, by the virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. He has to be fully self-satisfied without being affected by any material consideration, favorable or unfavorable. He has to be equipoised towards honest well-wisher, friends, enemies, envious, pious, sinner, and those who are indifferent and partial. In this way, one has to cultivate himself and come to a level of detachment. This itself, Arjuna says, is very difficult process because we are materially attached. And exactly this is the word used by Lord. Those whose minds are materially attached, the process of these yogas are very difficult. Arjuna says in 6th chapter, Lord says in 12th chapter. After purifying oneself to this level, where he is unaffected by stone, gold, pebble, favorable, unfavorable, enemies, friends, everything, then he enters into the forest. Then actual yoga begins. This is just the preparation. Now, after that, here Lord says, the yoga begins. One has to make Krishna as the goal. One has to meditate on the Supreme Lord and make him the ultimate goal. One should hold one's body, neck and head erect in straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. Thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. First part meditate upon me within the heart. A yogi meditates on the Supreme Lord within the heart. Right? Yogi meditates on the Paramatma form. He has the knowledge that I am different, Paramatma is different. A Gyan Yogi, he thinks, I am only Brahman, I am only Paramatma, I am only Supreme. I will just merge into the bigger Brahman existence. So his knowledge is incomplete, his knowledge is faulty. But a meditative yogi, Dhyan yogi, he knows I am different entity, super soul is a different entity, I have to meditate on that super soul. But here Lord says, meditate on me and make me the ultimate goal of life. Right? This is the actual purpose of yoga, Dhyan yoga. But those who are Dhyan yogis, they miss out making Krishna the ultimate goal of life. When they meditate on the Paramatma, Jitatmana Prashantasya Paramatma Samayata, they get darshan of Paramatma. When Paramatma asks them, what do you want? Then they say, we want Siddhi, we want Mukti. They don't say, we want devotional service unto you, unto your lotus feet. This is what Lord Krishna is saying, they miss out. They should make me the ultimate goal of life. We don't want Siddhi, we don't want Mukti, we want Bhakti. We want to serve you. Those who meditate in this way, making the goal Supreme Lord, as making the goal as Supreme Lord, we want Krishna only, we don't want anything else. They are categorized as Bhakti Yogis. But those who meditate on those Paramatma for attaining Siddhis, mystic powers, or going to Brahma Jyoti or liberation, they are considered as these Hatha Yogis or Dhyan Yogis. That is the difference. So processes meditation, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. Smaranam is meditation. So this meditation is on Vishnu. As a part of devotional service, you meditate on Vishnu and ask for his devotional service. Please engage in your service. As a part of Hatha Yoga, they meditate on Vishnu, but they ask for material benedictions like Siddhis or liberation from the material existence. They also again fall down. Right? So in this way, Lord says, this is a very difficult process. First, you have to be freed from the influence of the gunas. All your liking, disliking has to be kept aside. Purify your mind, seeing equally all dualities of life. Dualities of external situations, Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukh, Man, Apman. Dualities of material objects, lump of mud, gold, diamonds, all dualities, big, precious, non-precious, big, small, good, bad. Dualities of people, right? Favorable, unfavorable, enemy, friend. All dualities have to be crossed. Then you get entry into yoga system and you start meditating on the Lord, of connection with Lord starts. This is Dhyan Yoga. First prepare yourself, free yourself from material dualities, then you enter into connection with the Lord. In 14th chapter, opposite is mentioned. In 14th chapter, exactly opposite is mentioned. Mam cha vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samtitetan brahma bhuvaya kalpate. Lord says, first you engage in my service. Of vyabhicharani bhakti you engage, automatically you will be freed from the duality of these modes. Sattva-guna has its own liking, disliking. Rajoguna has its own liking and disliking. Tamoguna has its own liking and disliking. Those are Sattva-guna, they have some likings, some dislikings. Rajasic people have their own person. I like this, I don't like this. Tamasic people like tamasic things, they don't like other things. Here Lord says, in 14th chapter, directly enter into my devotional service. First you connect with the Supreme, automatically other things will follow. And when you connect with the Supreme, you will surpass the influence of the modes, then you will not fall down. Right? So other processes require first purification, then connection with the Supreme. Bhakti Yoga directly says connect with the Supreme, purification will automatically happen. So exactly the requisites given by Lord in 6th chapter are given by Lord again in 14th chapter, and says all these can be easily attained. All these requisites can be easily attained by devotional service. And one who takes with devotional service, Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti, and Prabhupada also quotes, Yad gatvana nivartante. Right? So one who takes devotional service, he will attain the real nirvana. And all these prerequisites of other yogas are automatically fulfilled. Automatically. One need not put separate endeavor. So devotee or sadhak of bhakti yoga, he has to focus on devotional service. And then Lord says, he who does not hate illumination, attachment and delusion when they are present. Illumination means satoguna, attachment means rajoguna, and delusion means tamoguna. When somebody is under the influence of any of these modes, he is not affected by those. He who does not hate illumination, attachment and delusion when they are present, nor longs for them when they disappear. Right? Who is seated like one unconcerned. So, this is possible only for a person who has transcended the modes. And sadhana process or the devotion or any yoga process is meant for conditioned living entity. He, Jnani, Dhyani, Bhakti Yogi, all are sadhakas. They start from conditioned state. Conditioned state means influence of three modes. Under the influence of three modes, one is forced to act accordingly. But when one takes to the highest process of Bhakti Yoga, automatically Krishna says, one who surrenders to me, right? Daivi Esha Gunmai Mamaya Durutya. Ma me vaya prapadyante Maya metam tarantite. Lord orders Maya Devi to release that jiva from her influence. To the degree a jiva surrenders, Maya Devi releases that jiva to that degree. Right? And when fully surrenders, very easily he crosses over Maya or the three modes of nature. So that's why Mother Devotee is asking, she has understood that the Bhakti Yoga is the first, is the simplest, easiest process, can be done through these 9 Navvidha, and also it is the most perfect process. There is no fall down that, and it gives the highest goal. Now, here one more interesting word is used, that is Bhagavad Bana. Bhagavad Bana is very nicely explained by Prabhupada. An arrow. Bana means arrow. Bhakti Yoga system is just like an arrow aiming up to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Not aiming at, aiming up to. Means it will take us to reach us to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's called Bhagavad Bana, the arrow of devotional service. So the word arrow is very significant here because the nature of arrow is, it is very pinpointed towards the target. When you shoot an arrow, the arrow is very pinpointed towards the target. It doesn't deviate here and there. It doesn't shower anything else here and there. It just goes and hits the target. Right? It doesn't distract here and there. When it's shot from the bow and it's aimed at the target, it will straight go and hit there, and it will not stop anywhere else in between. So exactly this thing is explained in Bhagavad Gita also. Right? That Bhakti Yoga is very pinpointed, directly aiming, not deviating anywhere else, but aiming at the Supreme Personality of Godhead straight. Very famous verse, that is one pointed attention. Yes, Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Eke Hai Kuru Nandana. Others are called as Bahushakha. Right? So, Bhakti Yoga is called as Ekeha Kuru Nandana. Now, this Ekeha Kuru Nandana is explained through 2 analogies in the second chapter. Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Ekeha Kuru Nandana. Ekeha means he is not deviated. Those who are not fixed up in devotional service, right? Those who are not fixed up in devotional service, we see many times some newcomers who start practicing Bhakti Yoga. So sometimes they will not come to temple, sometimes they will not. If you ask what happened, so today we had some Saptami Vrata, some Ashtami Vrata, some other Vrata, some other function, right? Some Devi Puja, some other thing. So when you are doing Bhakti Yoga, why you need other processes? सबको खुश करना है सबको, देखना पड़ता है सबका, because they are not fixed up in devotional service, they have not understood devotional service, bahushakha. Then sometimes, okay, if there is no religious procedure for them, why you have not come? You have to go to some function, some social gathering. Why you have to go? You know, सबका देखना पड़ता है, सबको खुश करना पड़ता है. हाँ, बहुशाखा includes all living entities, their family, their job, their boss, their social connections, devtas, devis, all are part of Bhavshaka. Then there are Karma Kanda processes. Bhavshaka means whoever calls him, he'll go there. Whoever calls him, you come here, Yamimam Pushpitam Vacha. You know, you have this lucrative fruit here, you have this security, you have this benefit here. They'll go there because they are not fixed up in devotional service. Now, Bhagavad Bhana means one who is fixed up in this devotional service will not see here and there. So, first analogy Lord gives us to explain the glory of this devotional services. There are different water bodies. Right? All the purposes are served by the small, all the purposes that are served by the small pond can at once be served by the great reservoir of water. Right? So, what is the great reservoir of water? That is Bhakti Yoga. Small ponds are Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda, all other, Gyan Kanda also, cultivation knowledge also added in that. All these different ponds, small ponds of Vedas, they serve specific purposes. But one who takes up to the big reservoir, that is Bhakti Yoga, all these are automatically fulfilled. All the benefits of all these other reservoirs are automatically fulfilled. Like in village, there are small wells. There are different wells for different purposes. Right? If there is a drinking water well, it will be very well guarded. There will be fencing around that well so that no animals go, nothing. Whole village will take drinking water from there. Right? So nobody is allowed to go there just randomly. But there are wells where people wash clothes or where they bathe their animals. There are different wells like that. So for different purposes, one has to go to different wells. But great reservoir, if there is a flowing river, all the purposes solved in that. One can drink water, one can take bath. You know, a flowing river water is never considered to be contaminated, a holy river water. You see, in Ganges, people take bath purposes, it's never contaminated. Right? Like that, Bhakti Yoga, river will fulfill all other purposes. Same way, Bhakti Yoga fulfills all these purposes. Additionally, it gives one more thing, which other yogas cannot give, that is attaining the spiritual kingdom. So, first Lord says, this is the glory of Bhakti Yoga, one should take to this Bhakti Yoga. Next, another analogy Lord gives about Bhagavad Bhana. Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyati tarishyati. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, there is a dense forest of delusion. What is this dense forest of delusion? Yamimam Pushpitam Vacha. This Lord explains in next verse. The Vedic Karma Kanda is the dense forest of delusion. All these Karma Kanda activities are inviting. All these Karma Kanda activities are inviting. Come here, we'll give you benefit. Come here, we'll give you benefit. Come here, we'll give you this, that. So many allurements, lucrative things. A person who is trapped in this Vedic Maya, he thinks, okay, this is Veda only. Veda means Lord's word. So let us go here, let us go there. So he gets trapped in Yamima Pushpitam Vacha. And he is rotating in these three modes, Satogun, Rajogun, Tamogun, going up and down, up and down. So now Lord says, when your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you have crossed over the dense forest of this Vedic delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. So now your arrow is pinpointed towards Krishna Loka. When the demigods call, in the sense, Upasana can't allures like that. You worship this demigod, you will not focus on that. Pinpointed towards Goloka. When materialistic ritualistic process is called, heavenly planet, kingdom, good birth, lot of opulence, knowledge, conquering the enemies, getting good opulence, your intention will not be misdirected. When liberation also calls, Jnana Kanda calls, it will not be diluted or misdirected. It will be pinpointed towards Goloka. Right? So that's why it is called Bhagavad Bhan. Now next verse, Lord says, when your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, this is the dense forest of delusion. And when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. So when one takes to the process of Bhakti Yoga, automatically all the influences of the three modes and allurements connected to the three modes are dissolved. One overcomes all these, and his focus on Bhagavad Vana, that is the arrow aiming up to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is fixed. So when his aim is fixed, that I want this only, like we hear so many times in Mahabharata, when Dronacharya had kept a bird on the top of a tree and he asked everybody, what do you want? What do you see? So everybody gave one answer. Then Arjuna says, I see only the eye of the bird. Right? This example is often used to, explain how focus should be. So this is what the Bhagavad Vana is. Right? One who is focused on going back to Godhead, going back to Krishna Loka, then all other things, all these dualities of good, bad, happiness, distress, enemy, friend, favorable, unfavorable, things happening, likeable or unlikeable, all are forgotten, and one focuses that my arrow has to reach there only, not get distracted or diverted by these dualities. Right? So that is how Bhakti Yoga is explained. Right? So we'll stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.